It's election season, so listen up.
What is going on, guys? Politics Gaming here, and today I am going to be doing a brand new Senate and House analysis as well as governor analysis. This time I'm actually going to be using 538, which is another website alternative to Real Clear Politics. This one uses the same thing, but they do use more and more polls and stuff like that. So what we are looking at now is the generic ballot. This is basically saying a generic ballot is basically saying, okay, well, if the election were held right now, how would you vote? And it's basically taking it from a national level, from a national all over the country. This is not like a certain amount of people, except it is a certain amount of people taking the poll. But anyway, this is just basically like a general polling on people as of October 19th, 2018. So the poll stands at 49.7 to 41.3, and that is the most recent one by CBS News is actually an 8-point margin. So we're definitely looking at a very, very strong Democratic support. This has never changed since the polling began back in May of 2000 or April 2017. The furthest it was actually apart was whenever the Republicans and the Democrats were actually, that looks about, 10.5 points away from each other. And that was in December of 2017, which is the most support that the Democrats have ever gotten. Except ever since then, it has kind of trickled up. The Republicans are continuously unpopular, and the Democrats are usually very, very close to nearly a double-digit lead. They really cross that double-digit lead every now and then, but then by that time, the Republicans really like to just creep up on them. It does look like that Democrats actually had 50% of the support of the popular vote in October 14th, 2018. Though that was actually a while ago, but then it trickled back down to 49.7. So that is the generic ballot. So what we're going to go ahead and look at right now is going to be the Senate race. What we are looking at right here is this is actually taking from the classic, but I'm going to go ahead and take the deluxe, which basically gives me the classic results plus the expert ratings from a lot of political analysis and stuff like that. So what we're looking at here is the prediction of 538 for which party the Senate will go to, and we're definitely looking at a Senate in 2019 that will stay in Republican control, and even they may even actually make gains. There is actually a very, very high chance that the Republicans will make gains, such as in states as Florida, Missouri, North Dakota. Definitely North Dakota is going to flip to the Republicans, but the Republicans definitely need to hang on to Nevada and Arizona. However, Nevada and Arizona, the last several polls that have been coming out of there have been showing single-digit margins for the Republican candidates, which are incumbents, which actually Martha McSally is not the incumbent because of the death of John McCain, or not the death, oh my god, I'm an idiot. Not the death of John McCain, but the retirement of Jeff Flake, Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona, who is supposed to run, but then he dropped out. So we are looking at an 80% chance that the Republicans will keep it, or a 4 and 5 chance for those mathematicians out there. And then this basically says there's a 17.1. This is basically just kind of like a breakdown. It's not like saying like there's a 17% chance of the Republicans doing this, which this is the highest chance that they're having right now, is that they are going to keep what they have right now with that very, very razor thin margin. If they can at least get 52 to maybe 53, I'm honestly betting that the Republicans can get at least 52. They can make at least a 1-seat gain in the Senate. My best case scenario, which I honestly have a very strong feeling that this is how the election is going to play out, is that they're going to win in races such as North Dakota, Missouri, maybe even Florida. Um, which Florida, a while ago, I was saying that Florida was going to go there. I'm betting more that maybe even Missouri or North Dakota. Well, I think in between Florida and Missouri, um, I would believe that Missouri could flip actually. Florida does seem to be like there is a lot of support for Bill Nelson. However, my gut feeling does tell me um, that Rick Scott can actually pull it off because of his popularity as the governor of Florida, and things of that sort. But if I were to pick, then I believe that Missouri would actually flip toward the Republicans. But anyway, so what we're going to go ahead and look at now is going to be the map. So we're looking at it right now, where it's showing the battleground states, the leans, and stuff like that. Texas definitely not a lean. I'm not even going to talk about Texas because I believe that Beto O'Rourke is actually not a serious candidate anymore. I don't believe Beto O'Rourke has a chance. And these guys definitely don't believe that Beto has a chance either. He has about nearly a 1/4% chance of winning this race in the state of Texas. It's not that Texas is too Republican, that they're going to vote for Ted Cruz. I believe that the reason that a lot of Texas voters, as a Texan, and this is coming from a Texan, is that Beto O'Rourke is a candidate who um, cannot show himself to be a formidable foe against Ted Cruz. A lot of the performances that he has had in the recent debates, the CNN town hall after the debate with Ted Cruz, Beto O'Rourke has obviously shown himself to be someone who's going to bring about divisiveness to the Senate, someone who's going to bring about the just a lot of policies that Texans do not agree with. It's just an unfathomable thought to seriously think that Beto O'Rourke will win this Texas race. And that is why I'm not going to talk about Texas in length, except now where I'm talking about how Beto O'Rourke is not going to win Texas, but that is my point. So I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I'm going to go ahead and start talking about states such as North Dakota. North Dakota is definitely an interesting state that Heidi Heitkamp is the incumbent in the state of North Dakota, as a Democrat in a very, very conservative state. This state voted for Donald Trump in the double digits. But we are looking at a state that is going to flip toward the Republicans, and a lot of these states did not want to classify North Dakota as I think it was actually leaning Democrat, and then as the race started to progress, especially with the Kavanaugh stuff and the Kavanaugh hearings and stuff like that, Heidi Heitkamp actually started to lose her chances, mostly because um, of her just un not unforgivable, but mostly because she does not reflect a lot of conservative values. She's not reflecting a lot of the wishes that a lot of conservative North Dakotans actually want. And you hear a lot of stuff. I mean, maybe you're one of the people who literally thinks the events of the Standing Rock events and incidents that happened, believe 1 or 2 years ago, the Standing Rock incident. You maybe believe that that would be chance for the Democrats to win because of just how that whole thing played out, but that's just not how it works. So yeah, North Dakota definitely going to go toward the Republicans this year. I'm gonna pay attention to that, and I'm actually gonna buy a subscription to the New York Times right before the election, so I can cover the race with the best of my ability. We're gonna go ahead and go on to the state of Nevada. Nevada is actually a very, very close race, both in polling and in chances. This is actually the closest race I believe that 538 is actually showing, mostly because I haven't seen anything like this before. We're looking at a 1 in 2 chance of either candidate, Dean Heller or Jackie Rosen, winning in this race. They're predicting that a 51.8% chance the Republican incumbent wins, and a 48.2% chance that the Democratic opponent will win. So the vote share would be a 48.9 to 48.6. That is a margin of just 0.3% vote. That would be within the margin of error. Most likely, the margin of error is around or below 0.7, 0.8 in the state of Nevada. Maybe even 1%. I don't know. I haven't studied Nevadan law, obviously, because I don't live there. But yeah, we are looking at a very, very tight race in the state of Nevada. This will be definitely a race that I'm going to pay attention to come the general election while I'm covering it. So we're going to go ahead and go back, and then we're going to go ahead and start covering, start looking at the Missouri race. We are looking at a probable Democratic win in the state of Missouri, most likely. And I mean, I may be saying this because of the polling. Really, the only thing you can't really the only thing you can go off of is polling, unless you're on the ground talking to the people of Missouri and then averaging out how many people would vote for McCaskill or would vote for Hawley. That's how you can really get how people are taking a lot of these things. Um, McCaskill obviously was senator during a lot of these police shootings, especially in Ferguson, where Michael Brown was shot and killed by a police officer. And she was in there, and I don't think this race is really talking about race. I think this race is more of an anti-Trump thing. A lot of these really heated Senate races are a lot of Democratic races that are falling apart mostly because Trump's power is starting to grow. We're looking at a lot of because the Democrats actually have a lot more seats on the line, and that's actually why it's more competitive. So we're looking at a 58% chance that McCaskill, the Democrat, will win, while we are looking at a 42% chance that the Republican Josh Hawley will win. Josh Hawley is actually the Attorney General of the state of Missouri. Then obviously we're looking at a 49.3 to 48.0 vote margin, which is a 1.3% margin. Very, very close, very, very tight race in the state of Missouri. Definitely going to be a state that I'm going to be concentrating on during the general election. Then we're going to go over to the state of Tennessee. We are also looking at a state much like Texas. There's both of these states, Texas and Tennessee, are the most peculiar, however you say that word, most odd races in this election. We're looking at two states that are reliably red. They have voted Republican for a long time. I believe, but I think Tennessee actually voted for Bill Clinton. I may be wrong. I would have to look that up in a second. But Tennessee and Texas have voted Republican for a very, very reliably long amount of time. But these races are falling apart mostly because of the anti-Trump movement that is moving around in these states. While in Tennessee, it's a lot more powerful for the Democrats because of a lot of issues that are really affecting a lot of Tennessee voters, such as energy. Energy is definitely one of the deciding factors of the vote. Um, Probably, maybe even Taylor Swift. I highly doubt Taylor Swift, though, will have an effect on this election because a lot of people. I mean, Taylor Swift is a Tennesseer, but I don't think she's gonna really affect anything. But anyway, we are looking at a 3 in 4 chance that the Republican will actually win in this race, while we are looking at a 1 in 4 chance of the Democrat actually winning. 75 to 25. Pretty good chances for the Republicans to win. So that is why I'm not really worried or saying that Tennessee will go to the Democrats, because I think it's again is a long shot. Tennessee and Texas are very conservative states. A lot of Democrats are very unpopular there unless they run themselves as a conservative candidate. A lot of the two candidates who have successfully ran themselves as conservative candidates as a Democrat, which is why they are known as blue dog Democrats, are Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Joe Donnelly of the state of Indiana. So that is why a lot of both of those candidates have actually won and may even win their re-election races. Most Joe Manchin is definitely going to win his race. However, Joe Donnelly is a race to pay attention to. But Joe Manchin definitely going to win, especially with his vote for Kavanaugh. But a lot of these races that you basically may think that are in danger may not even be in danger. A lot of people are classifying a lot of people are classifying Tennessee as a battleground state whenever it should actually obviously be leaning red. Texas is a very, very long shot from being a battleground state, from being an actual battleground state. Real Clear Politics identified it as a battleground state for a little bit because their polling was so close between Ted Cruz and Beto O'Rourke. But now, I mean, Ted Cruz is having a double-digit lead in some polls, so it's a very, very far-fetched. Just because one poll tells you something doesn't mean it's true, unless, you're seeing so many people come out, which, I mean, there's a lot of people in Texas, and that's why a lot of people turn out to go see Beto O'Rourke. So what we're going to go ahead and look at next, I'm going to go ahead and look at these two reliably Democratic races. Indiana is going to come first. Obviously, we are most likely going to be looking at a Democratic win in the state of Indiana. This is likely Democratic, and that I definitely agree with that prediction. I think it could be close, maybe within 3 to 5 points. I think that it could actually happen around there, but I don't think Indiana will flip. Which, I mean, it says right here, Indiana is 17.9 points more Republican than the nation overall, is the 15th most Republican state in the country. And then we're going to go over to West Virginia. And West Virginia is 30.5 points more Republican than the nation overall, and is the 7th most Republican state in the country. We're looking at an 87.4% chance that Joe Manchin III will win against his opponent, Jack Morrissey, or Patrick Morrissey. And Patrick Morrissey has a 1/8 chance of winning. So a lot of these things are just really far-fetched of saying that Texas and Tennessee can flip, and then people who think that Indiana and West Virginia can flip, they're horribly mistaken. I'm sorry. Like, you're just trying to look at the best case scenario. If you want to say that Indiana and West Virginia can flip, then you can say that Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, California, Oregon, Washington, Vermont, Maine. A lot of these states are just not going to flip. Like, the only states that will flip are the ones that are basically being looked at right now. Nevada, Arizona, Texas has a chance. Okay, not Texas. I mean, I just completely screwed up my entire point there. I just completely skewered that. But not Texas, but Missouri, Florida. Those states are the ones who have the most likely chance of flipping. And it's going to be even if the Democrats technically, quote unquote, win this election, it's not going to change, but at least by a couple of seats. If the Democrats win, it's going to be either a tie or that's actually the only way the Democrats could actually win. There's just not enough seats to flip in this election. And I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up 270 right now.
So why should you care? Well, the U.S. House of Representatives is the chamber that begins.
And if we look at this, and if I actually can put these things, if I can actually put a race together, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the best case scenario in a realistic scenario where the Democrats can actually win. So I'm going to go ahead and give the Democrats Montana, which they are most likely going to win. 5 and 6 chance, 1 and 6. Obviously, definitely, John Tester is going to prevail in the state of Montana. Nevada, I mean, we're already looking at a 50-50. The Democrats would have to flip them at Nevada. That's going to be the first. That's going to have to be the first priority. They're going to have to flip Arizona. They're going to have to keep Missouri. They're going to have to keep Indiana. And then they're going to have to keep Florida. That's the only way they're going to be able to win. They cannot flip Texas. That's just not a possible way. The only way they can actually win this election is if they flip Nevada and Arizona and then flip Tennessee or Texas, which is impossible. Absolutely impossible. There is no absolute way that the Democrats can technically win this election. They would win it by tying it, but even then they would still lose because the vice president would be able to give the deciding vote at every single event. So, best case scenario, and the one that I think this is going to happen, Montana's going to stay with the Democrats. Nevada is going to stay with the Republicans. Arizona is going to stay with the Republicans. Missouri, I'm going to have to make a decision here. Missouri would probably stay or flip to the Republicans, I believe. I mean, this is where it gets really testy because I'm honestly undecided to whether I believe that you know what? Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and let the Democrats off with a break, and I'm gonna let them keep Missouri. They're obviously going to keep Indiana, but Florida would definitely be the state that I think is going to flip to the Republicans. I think, and I actually could have said that earlier, but Florida is actually a state where the governor, I mean, is pretty popular. He's actually very popular, but among a lot of his people, I believe his approval rating is actually over 50%. So you're looking at a governor who is running for a federal seat, who can actually pull it off and show his constituents that he can actually be a better senator than incumbent Bill Nelson. Bill Nelson obviously has the incumbent advantage, but Rick Scott's the sitting governor of the state. So very bad news for Bill Nelson. But in any case, I think that these two states are going to be the deciding factor. But even if they were, the Democrats definitely have to flip Nevada and Arizona. If they do not flip Nevada and Arizona, even if they only flip one of them, they are still in trouble. Absolutely still in trouble. They can keep Missouri and Florida. They can keep both of them, but they're not going to flip it. If this is actually going to be the new red wall. This is going to be the thing that is going to keep the Democrats from getting a majority in the House or in the Senate. We are actually looking at Nevada and Arizona being the deciding factors. They need to win both of them. They can't just get away with one of them. North Dakota going against Democrats, definitely going to hurt them. If North Dakota was on their side, they could just flip one of them. Then they would be able to get the majority. But North Dakota is definitely going to hurt the Democrats. If they cannot flip both North Dakota and Arizona, the Democrats are in trouble. And if we see that on election night, then Democrats are not going to win the Senate. So I think this is going to be the end of this video. I actually tried to cover as much as I actually could, and I think I could actually probably comprise another part of it where I could talk about the House and the governor's race. I think I'm more concentrated. Yeah, I actually did. I concentrated on the Senate a lot on this video, and I didn't mean to, but this kind of actually turned into more of a very, very in-depth Senate analysis. So I guess that's actually what I'm going to go ahead and call it now. So guys, if you guys like the Senate analysis, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'll make sure to go ahead and do a House analysis. I really actually am very interested in to see how the House race will actually turn out. If the Republicans can get away with it, which I do not believe will happen, I believe that this election is going to end in a tie. And by tie, I'm not saying the Senate will end in a tie. I'm saying that the election will be a tie. The Republicans will keep the Senate, but the Democrats will win the House. So technically, it will be a tie. But the House can do a lot of powerful things, including the beginning of impeachment proceedings. But I believe impeachment actually needs a 2/3 vote. So they would definitely need to get some Republicans to actually jump on board with them. But they would have a lot of power to do so since they would be the majority. But guys, if you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Guys, I'll go ahead and see you guys in the House analysis, and then after that, I will see you guys in the Governor's analysis. And then I think this is probably going to be the second to last analysis, and I'm going to be doing a couple of like in-depth analyses for the election, and there's going to be one more. I think I might actually do that just before the election. I think I'm going to release that on November 1st. So I'm actually going to go ahead and aim for November 1st to be the very, very last election analysis. Because I don't want to be sitting there like posting all these stuff like that. I know it's good for some people. Let's talk elections. Some people like to do it because it gets them money. It gets them viewers. I'm doing it more as likely just so it doesn't look like that I'm inconsistent, because I really don't like that. And I'm actually, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Let's Talk Elections does that a lot, where a lot of his videos are actually very inconsistent. A lot of his videos are basically changing every single time, and it's basically him forming his opinion every single time another poll comes out. It's basically saying, okay, well, there's an election here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We can go into his political views, stuff like that. I mean, if he wants to debate me, I would totally be down for that. That'd be hilariously awesome. So, let's talk elections, debate me. But, I don't know. That's just something that always catches my attention about LTE's videos. But, guys, if you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.